Welcome to Busted Speakers. I'm Kush,
Alex.
and today we're going to be reviewing Windy City by Alison Krauss. Now, we originally only reviewed this because Cam was very excited for Alison Krauss. He said he likes a lot of her music and thought that she was very interesting.
Yeah.
And I listened to it expecting something pretty good, and I didn't really enjoy this album. I don't know why. Maybe it's just not my thing. I'm not really a country guy. But this wasn't even that country-esque. It was more like bluegrass or whatnot. And I enjoy some bluegrass, but I just didn't feel this album. I wasn't feeling it. It felt kind of boring and repetitive to me.
Yeah. So I only chose this out because Cam was excited about it. It was in his anticipated albums of 2017. And, we tried Brantley Gilbert. I'm going to give country a go whenever I have a chance. But the reason why I think this was so inoffensive and boring in a way is that this is a country pop album that's like a covers album. All of these songs are covers she chose out of really old songs. I think the newest one was from 1998. And as far as I can tell, this is the most easy listening type album she's ever made. Like, all the other ones had her in a band, fast-paced, with violin aspects. I've seen a few photos of her with a violin. I was hoping for some of that on this album. Didn't get any. And, she had a good collaboration album with Robert Plant 10 years ago called Raising Sand, and I thought her vocals on that were pretty good. So I did go into this thinking, it'd be okay. But, yeah, I was slightly disappointed. I wasn't extremely disappointed, but I don't know, I just feel like I didn't get what I was expecting. I don't know what I was, but probably something of more worth than this, maybe.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because I felt like every song was kind of sappy. It was kind of boring. There was very little making it unique and distinct.
The only thing I really like about the creation of this album is, similar to Rolling Stones' Blue and Lonesome, for a covers album, she chose some quite obscure stuff like they did with their blues selections. Still, she chose some very boring ballads that are performed quite well, I can't deny that, but I can't get behind them. And, I wanted some more mid-tempo country rock songs, but we only got 3 maybe. But, vocally she's outstanding throughout, I can't deny that.
Yeah, vocally she was, I enjoyed her vocals.
And also, I didn't even bother trying to analyze any lyrics because it's all covers, and there's no point because she probably doesn't know the meaning behind most of these. Some of these are done in a different context, as a female person from a male point of view. Some of these are originally, and I don't really do that with a cover albums. It's not the point. I don't know if you knew it was a covers album, but
It doesn't really change much.
It doesn't change much, but I did keep in mind that, so I did not consider analyzing any lyrics. But generally, they were good. Nothing bad. So.
Yeah, I think there was a couple songs on here that were okay. I liked the song "I Never Cared for You."
Yeah.
She started off with this really cool piano intro with harmonizing sound, and you can feel the emotion, but then she changes it up and never really returns to that original tone, which I thought would have been a really cool wraparound. And I felt, and I didn't. And that was probably my my favorite song on this album.
Yeah. That song was the only one I knew the original of. It's by Willie Nelson on the album Teatro, which is actually quite a good country album. If you're looking for a underrated country album from the late 90s, because that's probably a period of music most people don't know that many worthwhile ones, maybe. I think actually Alison Krauss herself had a few. But, yeah. So that piano bit, that actually filled in dead air because Willie Nelson's original had just him on guitar, it was very empty. So the piano like filled in a gap I was worried about. But yeah, this is pretty good cover. Although I still like Willie Nelson's one that's slightly more. Hearing Alison cover it was pretty good. So yeah, that was probably the most interesting song on the album.
Losing You sound like a Christmas song. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I feel like they were all very similar in terms of instrumentation and vocal styles, and I didn't really. I mean, it's probably just a personal preference. I don't really enjoy country music, but I think there are some good aspects. She has a great voice. The instruments are played pretty well. Just I'm not a big fan of those two things.
Yeah. I'm trying to. There were a few songs I did like, despite them being so slow. Actually, It's Goodbye and So Long to You. That was actually quite a good song. It was more fast-paced, more of a country barn-stomping romp. You know, whenever these songs are more fast-paced, have more of a country... The best parts of this album were whenever there was prominent guitar, which wasn't actually quite a lot of them. Country rock, I find, has some of the best played guitar I've ever heard on music, in a way, just because it's so different. Like, there's a guitar tone to some of them that really appeals to me personally. The song Gentle on My Mind was actually, I vaguely knew the original of that. It's by Glenn Campbell, and that's probably the most well-known song and probably the most substantial lyrically, but obviously I wasn't really looking at for that. So since I wasn't overtly familiar with the original, when I was listening to that, I kind of bared in mind that I'd prefer the original to this. But, you know, it was pretty good. I found the worst song on here, and even then it's still okay. The most boring, the slowest, was All Alone I Am. Oh god. That was just too slow, too boring for me.
That was Ray Charles, right? I think Ray Charles covered that one. Or originally wrote that
Maybe.
one. But yeah,
Maybe.
I think it was the most emotional song. But the problem with that is that her voice was like, you can tell that's the problem with a lot of covers. When the covers are emotional songs,
yeah,
she doesn't have the same emotion as Ray Charles, because Ray Charles wrote that with something in mind. He was thinking about something, and he can sing that from the heart. But when she sings it, she doesn't have those same motives or same emotions that he's feeling. She's just singing because it's a good song, and you can tell the difference in quality, because she's not singing about something she loves or she wants or something she really cares about. She's just singing a song that someone else wrote, and that's where the problem happens. Is because, and that's why I appreciate Flo Morrissey's cover album that we covered and we really enjoyed.
Yeah.
They didn't pick any songs that were super emotional or super like touching, just because I think they probably knew that they couldn't create the same sort of atmosphere as the originals did with the trying to show like true emotion. But all in all, it wasn't that was probably just really boring of a song. I don't remember the original at all, but that song was boring.
The only other song that I kind of liked a bit more than some of the others was Dream of Me. I did actually look into the original of this because it piqued my interest slightly. It's by a guy called Vern Gosdin, and you know, this song is about it was written by a guy, and this is the most interesting from a female perspective, because I feel like there's an aspect of this that is true about Alison Krauss's life now. It's about how the narrator of the song is fairly successful and he's away from her lover, or originally Vern Gosdin's lover or wife or whatever, and now Alison Krauss is probably more successful than him, and she's probably away from her husband or whatever. So there was a level of that I kind of appreciated. And, you know, there's a nice sentiment to Dream of Me and I'll Be Dreaming of You, but it's still really cheesy and corny, like most of this album is, to be honest. And, you know, even then, it was still kind of mid-tempo and fast-paced enough for me that I could get behind it, kind of. But You know, You Don't Know Me, that was the last song. It had a nice atmosphere, but it was probably too slow again. And I do like slow music. It's just for some reason on here, it didn't work for me. For some reason.
I also want to make a correction. All Alone Am I is by Brenda Lee, not by Ray.
Oh yeah.
Ray Charles made the very last song, You Don't Know Me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Brenda Lee, she also made the first song, Losing You. And that's probably why some of this sounds like more traditional pop. Because she was traditional pop, she wasn't even country. You know, she made that original of Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, was probably the most rocking she ever got. So she has other songs like I'm Sorry, and I did actually vaguely know the original of this, but some of this reminded me of Bob Dylan's two most recent easy listening cover albums, in that it's just slow. It's got some very nice melodic guitar playing to liven things up a bit, but unless you really like traditional pop music from the 50s, you know, before even pop music as we vaguely know it today, like originating from the 60s, came to fruition, unless you like that stuff, your mileage with this album's going to be pretty limited, I'd think.
What would you rate it, Alex?
Performance-wise, I can't fault it, but my enjoyment of this was like limited to about 3 songs, really. It's the sort of thing you can imagine putting in the background and kind of forgetting about. I'm going to give it 5.
Yeah, I think it's just not my style. I'm sure she's great. I'm sure that people who like country will enjoy this. Just not my thing, and I'm not really feeling much anything pulling me to listen to any of this again. Maybe the one song, which was which one was that?
I never cared for you.
Maybe that song, but the other ones didn't really catch my attention. Didn't really engage me in any way. So I'm gonna give it a 5 as well.
I'd say check out the original of that. You probably like that more than this one.
Yeah, I definitely will be after this. Well, thanks for tuning in to Busted Speakers. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Check us out on social media. Shit, I messed that up. Yeah, sure. Check us out on social media. That's fine.
We're still learning.